All right, Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Thank you guys for coming to the African American Muslim Alliance of Tampa Bay, our weekly classes. This is the first day that we switched it to 7 o'clock. So I think a lot of people are expecting to be at 8 o'clock. So that we can get in and make sure that we make Maghrib on time here on the East Coast in Florida. So this class here that we have, we're going to start out with the Creed of Imam At-Tahawi. We are in episode 3, and then this is going to be followed by the purification of the heart. We're reading on the last chapter. Inshallah, we finish it today. And then next week, inshallah, we'll go ahead and restart the book. So we want to go over the books at least 3 times to make sure that we understand the meanings of the book. And inshallah, we have the openings. All right. So before we begin the Al-Fatiha. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Ar-Rahmanir Rahim. Maliki Yawmiddin. Iyyaka na'budu wa iyyaka nasta'in. اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين آمين. So we're going to go ahead and share the screen here of the text of Imam At-Tahawi. Raise it up here so all can see. All right. So we're going to go through this book slow and understanding each point. And if you have any questions for those that are in the class or for those that are on Instagram, don't hesitate to ask questions. So a little bit of information about Imam At-Tahawi. He was a 4th century, meaning that he died in the year 379 after Hijrah. So that's when he passed away. He's considered to be one of the Salaf. His name is Abu Ja'far At-Tahawi. And he is one of the founders of the different schools of Aqidah, the Ashari or Maturidi. And he kind of folded into, as time came, into the Ashari Aqidah. And this is the book that he left, and this is the book that we learn so that we don't develop deviant thoughts about Allah. Okay, so we're just going to read from this text, and then we're going to go over the 7 points, what we went over last week, but we're going to just continue a little bit more. All right, so Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, in the name of Allah, the Beneficent, the Merciful. Praise belongs to Allah alone, the Lord of the worlds, the most learned scholar and proof of Islam, Abu Ja'far al-Rawaq At-Tahawi from Egypt. May Allah shower him with mercy. States that the following is an exposition of the creed of the people of the prophetic way and the majority of scholars, and that is Ahl Sunnah wal Jama'ah, in accordance with the understanding of Muslim jurists such as Imam Abu Hanifa An-Nu'man bin Thabit Al-Kufi, also Abu Yusuf Yaqub bin Ibrahim Al-Ansari, and Abu Abdullah Muhammad bin Hassan bin Al-Hassan Al-Shabani. And these are all students, or the top students of Imam Abu Hanifa. Okay, so it's very important, and this is something that I'm working on myself, to understand scholarship, to understand chains of narration, to understand which student taught or learned from which scholar. This is very important information so that we can understand how our chain or how our isnad works, so that we know what our religion is and what our religion is not, and that we also know who we got or gained our religion from. Okay, so these books, like it says, is the understanding of Muslim jurists such as Imam Abu Hanifa, right? And then his students, Abu Yusuf Yaqub bin Ibrahim Al-Ansari, and Abu Abdullah Muhammad bin Al-Hassan Al-Shabani. May Allah be pleased with them all. Okay, Those are the students. So it says it includes their beliefs with a theological foundation of the religion upon which they base their worship of the Lord of the worlds. Okay, so this is the foundation of religion upon which we worship, knowing what we believe of Allah. Okay, we assert about the unity of God, as did Imam Abu Hanifa and the two aforementioned Imams, Abu Yusuf and Muhammad bin al-Hassan. May Allah have mercy on them, believing with the providence that one, Allah is one without partners. Okay, so what we want to do, and this is a question that is asked, is, you know, in today's age, we're dealing with a lot of atheists, right? And how do you, when somebody says, prove the existence of God? And if you're out here and you're talking to people about Islam, you're going to run across this. Okay, you're going to run across this question, and this is why we study Aqidah. This is why this is very important, so that when we are challenged with these questions, that we can answer these questions with proficiency. Okay, so the issue is that for Muslims, right, you have to build up to prove the existence of God. Okay, so just mere words, right, does not prove the existence of God, but you have to look at the creation around God or around you to see that there had to be someone that created this. Okay, there had to be someone that created this. So the video that I watched to get this, to get an understanding of this material, the Imam gave a great example. It's an example that we should really think about. Okay, he said that if you have a bucket, and in that bucket it's filled with letters, you know, so think about when you were in elementary school and you had the letters that you used, the magnet letters that you used to put on your refrigerator, and you would make words, you know, you would make phrases. So let's just imagine that you have a bucket. It's filled with letters A through Z, and you randomly dump that bucket on the ground. Okay, what are the chances that that random letter of bucket, let's say there's 1 million letters in that bucket, what are the chances that that letter, that bucket, is going to create sentences? Right? You might have, by mere chance, you might have some words that come together, 2, 3, maybe even a 4-letter word if you have 1 million letters that you dump out. But what are the chances that that bucket is going to create an entire sentence, a sentence that makes sense, right? And so we know, if we have any logic, we know that the chances of you dumping out these letters and there being an entire sentence that is created, it's slim to none, right? The randomness of it was simply not allow for there to be a coherent sentence that is created. Okay, let alone great literary works, right? Poetry, debates, you know, whatever great literary work that we have read from the moment we were born until today. What are the chances that this bucket dumped into the ground would create these literary works? And of course, the chances of that becomes even less. Okay, and so what he's saying in that analogy is, if we look up into the sky, if we look around us on this horizontal plane, and if we look into ourselves, we see complexities far greater than the greatest work of poetry, far greater than the greatest literary work. Okay, and so for the person that does not believe in God, that's what I say, is you have to build up the proof, right? That person is telling me that all of this organization, all of this structure just randomly came about. okay? That he just randomly, that all of this, the universe, the Milky Way, recently they were able to use a satellite to see stars at further than they've ever seen before, okay? The atheist is telling me that all of this is random. And even if you look at the farthest star that you've ever seen, and if you look at it long enough, you will start to see the order in which it orbits. But we'll bring it in closer to us here in the Milky Way with the sun that we see, right, on a daily basis that warms our Earth. And they know that over a period of time that there is a system of order that's been put in place. And it was put in place so perfectly that for us here on this planet, this big ball of rock, right, was able, it's far enough from the sun, yet close enough to the sun to sustain life. And we're expected to believe that there is no creator of any of this. No, we have to reject that, okay? So if we use the same analogy of that bucket of letters that has the million letters in it and it's dumped randomly, just like you would not believe that that random dumping of letters would create some of the most beautiful literary works that we see, we also have to reject that this world was just randomly because of a big boom theory or big bang theory and everything just exploded and randomly put in place. And then it began to structure and move in such a perfect way. We have to reject that. We as Muslims believe that there was a creator and someone, right, or something has put that in order and sustains that order. That's the important part. Sustains that order. Okay. I was reading one time the accounts of Halley's Comet throughout history, right? And knowing what we believe the Halley Comet comes once every 76 years, right? So let's say it's one person's lifetime. So the only way that we know it comes once every 76 years because it's on an orbit, right, is because that people have journaled the accounts in the coming of this. So they were able to calculate that once every 76 years, Halley Comet visits our atmosphere. But even Halley's Comet, that is the extent of its orbit, and it's perfect in its own orbit. That it comes into our atmosphere once every 76 years. Right? It's not random. It doesn't come once every, no, it has its own order. Who placed that order? Who put that order in place? It can't be anyone but the creator of Halley's Comet. That can't be random. It cannot be random. There's too much order. Okay, so this is what this science is about, is understanding who the creator of all of this is. Okay, and as Muslims, we believe that that creator is Allah. Okay, so we begin with the 7 points of negation. Okay, so 1, Allah is one. Okay, Allah is one without partners. So that's negating. It's a negation of God being broken up into multiple parts. He's one. Okay, and that counters, you know, our Christian that say that God is broken up into 3 parts. The second negation is nothing is like him. Okay, if you read the books of the scholars of Creed or of Aqidah, right? This is can be a very difficult concept to understand, that there is nothing like him. So anything that you even think about of what God may be is wrong. Okay, and I mentioned this before, that we cannot understand the infinite. Our finite mind cannot understand the infinite. So it's difficult for us to understand that there is nothing like him. Okay, so when you have people that attempt to apply anthropomorphism, right, and making God similar to human, right, or to animal or things that are animated, right, we have to reject that, because nothing is like him. Okay. Number 3, nothing debilitates him, right? Nothing removes his power. Okay. Nothing harms him. Nothing. Okay. He can, Allah gives, which means gives us the blessings and of his attributes without losing. There is no weakening. Okay. There is no weakening. The negation point number 4 is no deity exists save him. So not only is Allah one and there's nothing like him, there's no deity along with him. Okay. As you know, many let's say mythological religions are Hindus, you know, understand there are no deities. There's no deities in the wood. There's no deities, you know, in the stars. There's no other deities. Allah has created and is sustaining all of it. Okay. And the example that's given here when touching on that there is no deity save him, is people that believe that there's more than one God, right? Let's say that those two quote unquote gods with the little g, as I tell my student, God with the little g, right? Let's say that one of them wants to overstep their boundary, right? One of them wants to challenge the other God. Okay. Now we have a issue, and this is a point that is said in many religions, right? That deities were fighting each other, gods were fighting each other, right? So at that point in time in which the deities want to fight, right, there's going to be a victor and a winner and a loser. At that point, if there's a winner and a loser, does the losing God not become a God? Because now he's been debilitated. So he loses the point of number 3. Okay. So this is where the confusion begins. So you can't say that, no, there is no multiple gods. There's no 2, 3, 4. There's only one. Okay. And no deity exists except for this God. Okay. Negation point number 5. He is pre-existent without origin, eternal without end. So he has no beginning and he has no end. Okay. So this is very important. He has no beginning and he has no end, right? And so in this discussion of number 5 touches on the concept of time. Okay. And again, this is a very difficult point for us to understand because we are affected by time. But we understand that time is a creation of God. Okay. In the next realm, there is no time. Okay. The analogy that I was told, right, as far as this is that when you're dreaming, okay, when you're dreaming, time does not exist in your dream. It does not exist in your dream. This is the example that, just to give us, our finite mind, a chance to understand the world without time. Even though on this plane that we're sleeping in, right, we know it might be 3 o'clock in the morning, 4 o'clock, however time it is on this plane, but our soul, our consciousness goes into another realm where there is no time. Okay, so taking that understanding or that example to understand a world in which time does not exist. So Allah is pre-existing without origin and eternal without end. Time does not affect Allah. Okay. Negation point number 6, he neither perishes nor ceases to exist. Okay. So when you hear people, making the comments of God dying, we reject that. Nor does Allah cease to exist. Okay. He is as he has been and always will be. He neither perishes nor cease to exist. That's negation point number 6. All right. Let me move this over here. It's up here. And negation point number 7 is nothing will be except what he wills. Okay. We know kun fayakun. Allah says be, and it is. And nothing, and we have to understand this, and this is a very important part of our faith, nothing happens except what Allah wills. The good that he gives you, that God gives you, is from Allah. The bad that is given to you is from Allah. And Allah has sanctioned it. It has been allowed to hit you. It is our job to see what is the blessing or the lesson in what Allah has given us. But know that any blessing or tribulation and anything in between that you receive is from God. Nothing will be except what he wills. Okay? So those are the 7 negations, right? 7 negations. So we're going to continue. We're going to go to point number 8, 9, and 10. Number 8, imagination cannot obtain him. Okay? And we mentioned that before. Comprehension cannot perceive him. Right? So as it went back before, there's nothing like him. Right? If you were to tell kids to create an animal that doesn't exist, okay, and if you have kids, you've done this, and they'll paint an animal that it might have tiger legs and an elephant body, and they're going to take pieces of what their mind can comprehend and put together an animal that you've never seen before. Okay. So when we try to imagine God, even as an adult, that's what we do. We end up putting pieces together that our brain comprehends and try to come up with something that has never been seen before. Okay. And we can't do that. It's impossible to do that. Our imagination cannot attain what Allah is, and we cannot comprehend what Allah is. Okay, but what we can comprehend are the attributes that he has sent down to us on earth. That's what we can comprehend, and that's what we're told to ponder over. Okay, we can comprehend the revelation that has been sent to us or given to us from the Prophet Muhammad SAW that was sent to him, that we can comprehend. Okay. But the actual essence of Allah, it's impossible to comprehend. Okay. Number 9, creatures do not bear any similarity to him. Okay. So when you talk about thinking about 2 legs or 4 legs, or or in our finite mind, we'll say, oh, 1 million legs. No, not even 1 million legs. No, it's impossible. It's impossible to even imagine, right? So creatures do not bear any similarity to him. And that point there throws off the anthropomorphism. Now, there's certain surahs or certain ayat in the Quran that talk about hands, talk about eyes. I believe those are called the mutashabihat verses, right? And so what we should understand is that those verses are talking about the blessings, the mercy, the guidance, right, that Allah has sent, but not an actual hand, foot, walking, even speech, right? It's not to say that Allah has speak has, but he gave guidance. That's the attribute, right? But to actually believe that Allah is speaking through a mouth that we perceive, right? There is no similarity between Allah and his creation. Okay. And finally, number 10, alive. Allah is alive. He never dies. He's all sustaining and never sleeps. Okay. So this is a negation of popular religions in which they believe that God has died, or there's beliefs that God does not sustain, that, there's a belief that God created, set it a spin, and then left it, and now it's up to us to figure it out. No, we reject that. We believe that Allah is sustaining his creation at all times. If he removes his sustaining quality, then creation falls flat. Not even falls flat, cease to exist. Okay? Cease to exist. And we understand that Allah never sleeps. Okay? That Allah never sleeps. So these are the first 10 points of the creed of Imam At-Tahawi. Inshallah, we are going to continue next week, starting new time, starting at 7 o'clock. And we're going to do the creed of Imam At-Tahawi from 7 to 7:45, which it is right now. We'll take a brief break, right? I can go get some water, and then I will start back up here in a few minutes, and then we're going to go all the way to Maghrib. So are there any questions from those that are in the class, or for those that are on Instagram Live? Are there any questions about what was read? If you have any questions, you can put it in the chat, and I'll try my best to answer the question. Okay. All right. Oh, there's a question. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. That interaction makes me happy. Oh, okay. Okay. All right. So
I have a comment.
Yes, ma'am.
I don't know if somebody's asking a question or not.
No, you can ask your comment.
Oh, okay. No, so just for I'm sorry, I'm a distracted student, and I apologize for that, but I had to run an errand. But it seemed to me that that one of the main points that we need to have when we're dealing with the atheist to remember is that not only that Allah is the creator, but that he's the sustainer, and that differentiates between any foolishness, because we know that this creation has been sustained since Adam and Eve.
Yes.
Is that okay?
Yeah,
So
definitely.
then,
I mean, that's a good point. I mean, which like you says here for number 10, alive, he never dies, all sustaining. He's been sustaining it since the beginning, even before Adam and Eve, amongst with the creation of the earth, right? That
right,
Allah has been sustaining this, right? So, and yeah, that's a good point. That's a good point. Because when you speak to people, especially when you speak to people that have issues with God, you have to be able to explain to them, that no, this is what's going on. This is, when you eat, right, you're being sustained. You're
right,
not digesting that food, right? You're not telling your body, you're not telling your body to absorb the nutrients and to excrete the waste. You're not telling your body to do that. There's no function like a garbage disposal that you flip on, right? Your
right,
body is doing that on its own. Who's sustaining or creating your body to do that?
right. No, it's just, it's a really a powerful point in just in talking to people and also in Dawa. And of course, it increases our knowledge when we have this evidence and, argument, like you have the points that an atheist would bring up, and then you have the refutation readily available. So alhamdulillah, jazakallah khair, brother.
Alhamdulillah, alhamdulillah. It's very, very important for us to know because, and I've fallen into it myself before I actually was studied, was that sometimes you'll run into these rejectors, and they have perfected their argument so strong that it can confuse you and can cause doubt to enter into your heart.
Right.
So we have to know, we have to know our beliefs so that we can struggle against their claims, because they have, think tanks and strong backings to try to prove that God does not exist,
Right.
And we have hundreds of years, or over 1,000 years, right, over 1,400 years of proofs that God exists. We just have to actually go into those texts and pull that information out, so that's, we're not secondary to anybody. And that's a very important point that we should, point on. So thank you very much. I appreciate that. I appreciate the interaction that made my day.
Alhamdulillah.
That made my day. All right. So I'm going to go ahead and end this class on the same link. I'm going to come back at 8 o'clock on the same link.
Okay.
And then we're going to be doing the purification of the heart. Where's my book? Here it is. We are in the chapter, The Root of All Diseases. And we'll be talking about the root diseases of the heart. And inshallah, we'll go ahead and get started at 8 o'clock. So Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. وآثر إن الإنسان لفي خسر إلا الذين آمنوا وعملوا الصالحات وتواصوا بالحق وتواصوا بالصبر. All right, inshallah, I'll see you guys at 8 o'clock. Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam.